Hello everyone, this is Victoria from Create Cocktails, and today we're going to be making the Pink Porn Star Martini. Now, this is one of my absolute favourite cocktails, and it seems to be in line with the rest of the UK, as the Porn Star Martini is currently the #1 best-selling cocktail in the UK. So this is our twist on the classic. You will have received at home a box with all the ingredients and everything you need to make this cocktail, and you will also have a card that will show you what your cocktail should look like, and on the back will list all the ingredients and the steps. But you can put this card aside for now, because I am here to take you through the whole process. So, what you will need is your Absolute Vanilla vodka, your pink prosecco, pineapple juice, a lime, passion fruit puree, and pink peppercorn syrup. In terms of equipment, this cocktail is slightly more complex because you'll need a few things. Firstly, you'll need a shot glass, and that is to add your bubbles at the end, your prosecco, but I will tell you when to start using that. Then you'll need a coupe or a martini glass or something where you can put in your cocktail. Then of course, you'll need a shaker, so I have my shaker here, but if you don't have one at home, no worries. You can use something like a mason jar or a protein shaker. Just make sure it's something that you can close firmly. Then I've also got my jigger to make sure all my measurements are exact, but if you don't have one of these at home, doesn't really matter. You can use something like an egg cup or a measuring cup, whatever works for you in terms of measurements. Then I've got my strainers to make sure that I don't get any little ice shards into my cocktail, but you can also use something like a sieve or a tea strainer. Make sure you've also got a chopping board and a knife so we can cut our lime and our passion fruit. And then I've also got a Mexican elbow, also known as a lime squeezer, to squeeze my limes. But if you don't have the equipment, you can just squeeze the lime. We're going to start with our Absolute Vanilla. This is one of my absolute favourite vodkas. It takes less energy to make a double shot of vodka than it does to boil a single cup of tea. Quite a nice vodka if you're environmentally friendly. So 50 millilitres of that straight into my jigger. Once I've done that, I'm going to add the exact same amount of pineapple juice. Now I learned a little trick today, which is that if you give it a shake and then you smack the back, it opens a lot easier. So 50 millilitres, the same amount of vodka. Next we're going to add our citrus fruit, so we're going to add our lime. So take a lime, make sure you give it a good roll on a surface. The only reason we do this is to get all the citrus juice inside flowing a lot better, which makes it a juicier lime. Cut it in half, and then I'm going to use my elbow for this, but if you don't have it, you can just squeeze it straight in. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our passion fruit puree. You only need 12.5 millilitres of this, so if you're using a jigger, use the small side of it, and you only need about half of it. And finally, we're going to add our pink peppercorn syrup, and you'll need the same amount, 12.5. So that's it for our ingredients. So what we're going to do next is add our ice. The ice is probably one of the most important parts for these cocktails. You don't want to fill your shaker entirely with ice because it just means it gives you a much harder shake and you won't get that nice froth on top, but you also don't want to not add enough ice, meaning that you'll just have a bit of a diluted cocktail and it won't taste as good as it should. So we're going to add ice about 3/4 of the way. And then what I like to do is transfer everything to the big shaker. And I like to do that at an angle. So then you can just put it in at an angle, give it a good hit, and that will have sealed my shaker, which means if I lift it, it won't fall off. We won't let that sit there for too long with ice, so what we're going to do next is shake it for about 10 seconds. The trick to get that froth on the top of a Porn Star Martini is to give it a really hard shake. Let's go. Now find the part where the shaker starts to open and hit it. Take your strainer, you can pour it straight out. Now I like to leave a little gap at the top of these so I can put in my passion fruit. So take your passion fruit and chop it in half. Pick your favourite side and you can float it straight in. That's not quite the finished drink. We're going to open our bubbly bit and now top your shot glass with the pink prosecco. And there you go. So that's the full drink now. And I get asked a lot of questions sometimes about how you should use the shot. What I would always recommend is to alternate between the two and sip them. Reason behind that is because this is very fruity and very sweet, and that is quite dry. So what you want is the perfect balance of flavors as you're trying one and the other. So that's all from me. I'm going to take a sip. So good. Sip of one, sip of the other to balance it out. And then you would go back to that one. Thank you very much for watching. If you've made your Pink Porn Star Martini, please post it so we can see it and tag Create Cocktails. And we'll see you soon for the next one.